Hawthorn Mill, on the outskirts of Leeds, is a sheltered housing scheme owned by Connect Housing Association. Like thousands of other retirement housing schemes in the UK, it provides its residents with their own private apartments, as well as communal rooms and a garden which promote companionship and create a sense of belonging. Today is the opportunity for the residents to openly discuss and nominate Hawthorn Mill for the annual EAC Housing for Older People Awards. These awards aim to celebrate the various models of specialised housing for older people, whether rented or owned, to show the public at large what they have to offer, how they differ, and why they are so valuable for our society. A unique feature of these awards is that nominations are made directly by the residents and only by the residents. No jury or selection panel will do that for them. All it takes is to play a card game and return the score sheet to the organisers. Computer programmes will then do the rest. In other retirement schemes throughout the UK, thousands of residents will be voting in this way, either in the realistic hope of winning an award, or perhaps just in order to tell the EAC the good and the less good points about where they live. At the end of the day, the entries will contribute to our understanding of what works in such housing schemes, and might well influence the concept of future projects. For the residents, there is far more on offer than the bronze, silver and gold awards in the various categories. First of all, the nomination game is enjoyable and stimulating, offering an occasion to spend an hour or so in good company. It provides a chance to discuss and to listen to what other people have to say about matters that are important to all. There are also 20 £100 raffle prizes to be won and the possibility of a day out at the awards ceremony. This annual event is a grand occasion shared equally by the residents, housing providers and managers, business people, special guests and the organisations which sponsor the awards. So let's see how the nomination game is actually played.
Good morning everybody. Can I just explain to you the purpose of this game? This is a tool that's been produced by EAC, and it's to help people who live in sheltered, retired, supported housing get their point across about the place where they live, the positives and the negatives. So we need to know what you're happy with and we need to know what you're unhappy with, and then if we can change those things, we will do. So the rules of the game are, you have score sheets. One is a group score sheet, and that is for the whole group to fill in. And the other one is an individual score sheet, and you fill that in with your own private thoughts. Okay? Your group captain will read out the card, the first card, and if it says discuss, as a group, you will discuss it, and she will score your thoughts. And if the card says don't discuss, you will record your own thoughts on your own sheet. Is that clear? Yeah. When you've answered that card, the next person in your team picks up the next card and reads it to the group until you've gone through all your cards. Be aware that your cards are colour-coded to coincide with the sheet that you have in front of you. Okay? Are we ready to play the game? Yep. Off you go.
Friends and volunteers are welcome to give a hand throughout the proceedings, but during the game, the staff must not influence the players, must not listen to the conversations or see the score sheets at any time. The confidentiality of the residents' votes will be preserved. However, this year, the managing organisations will be able to obtain a report from EAC on their overall strengths and weaknesses, as judged by their residents.
Well, as you can see, the residents have got together. It's been a chance to give their views to each other, to discuss things in a good way, in a positive way, and record their thoughts onto paper. So even though we don't see those papers, we will see the outcome of the whole episode that's gone on today. And I think you can see it's been worthwhile.
Well, playing the game I thought it was interesting. There's the different subjects that you can read up, and then you have to decide which subject you think suits you best. And the other thing I think is that it gets everybody together, and you can have a natter and a coffee and past time of day, and it gets people out of the flats.
We got a lot out of the card game because it was an excellent card game. Very productive, it drew people together. Our little group were immensely impressed with it. We enjoyed it, and a social occasion is always very welcome.
Throughout the UK last year, 2,140 residents took part in the game, and analysing their score sheets gave EAC some interesting information on what really matters. For instance, there seems to be a higher satisfaction rating in urban retirement housing than in rural. Also, larger schemes seem to score higher on well-being than smaller ones, and newer or remodelled schemes scored higher than older ones. This kind of information could have an influence on the future of specialised housing for later life. This year, EAC hopes to double or triple the number of entries to give the collected data added credibility, and success will, of course, depend entirely on the willingness of residents and housing providers to support these awards. It doesn't take much to get involved. As we have seen, a dedicated scheme manager can play a big part to make the nomination process a very special occasion. However, 4 residents in the privacy of their own home could also have a very good time playing the game and debate about what matters. From the nominations of last year's awards, many sheltered and retirement housing schemes seem to perform very well without the help of a dedicated housing manager. So it's up to their residents and the managing companies to seize the initiative to enter the awards. EAC sees the awards as a source of valuable information on the well-being of older people in sheltered and retirement housing. The open nomination process is very different from the structured academic surveys, but the insights it gives us are relevant and will inform the future. The more residents take part, the more relevant the results become. The film you saw is the reenactment of last year's nomination day by the residents of Hawthorn Mill. We are grateful to all of them for the enthusiasm with which they volunteered to help, and for the acting talent they displayed under the camera's eye. With special thanks to Sue Hendry, Senior Scheme Manager at Hawthorn Mill, without whom this film and other visual promotions of the awards would not have been possible.